So welcome to a series here, which you'll see at the top of your slide. It says Sparkling Wines for the WSET Level 4. So if you are studying for your Level 4 diploma, this follows the syllabus and you will find it very useful and then some. So this is also useful for those of you just wanting to learn a little bit more about these key subjects. Here we are looking at the world of Lambrusco as a part of Italian sparkling wine. You'll see multiple series here covering Prosecco, Asti, Lambrusco, Franciacorta, and Trento DOC. So this is split into 4 parts. Part 3, this video is free content. All other videos in this series are only available on my e-learning portal. So that's either the e-learning portal if you search for it on any good search engine or over at www.winewithjimmy.com. So let's rock and roll looking at the key grape varieties and then the key DOC behind it, plus all additional DOCs of this area. Any questions, please do get in touch. Comment on the video below. Have you been to Bologna, Parma, Modena? Have you tried Lambrusco? What are your thoughts on this frothy red sparkling wine from Emilia-Romagna? Okay, so let's talk about the grape varieties at play here. So the name Lambrusco actually represents a family of 12 native red grape varieties that have been grown and developed in Emilia-Romagna for centuries. We call it Emilia-Romagna today. It has been separated in the past. Now, these grapes can be used on their own or in a combination, depending on the rules of each DOC, and also, of course, the desired winemaking choices of those individual producers within each of those areas. I'm going to focus on 3. We're going to talk first of all about Lambrusco Salamino, the most widely planted variety, producing fragrant, deep-colored, full-bodied wines with high acidity and is mostly blended with other Lambrusco varieties. The Salamino is said to come from salami because of the rather large salami shape of the grapes, apparently. Interesting etymology, but one can believe it. Where do we find this grape variety, Lambrusco Salamino? So there is a DOC situated to the north of Modena, to the west of Bologna, called Lambrusco Salamino de Santa Croce. And that requires 85% minimum of this variety and allows for, in this area, fairly average to large yields, but generally speaking across the board, 133 hectolitres per hectare are fairly sizable. The next grape variety that we'll look at is the one that is often called the noble Lambrusco variety, and that is Lambrusco Grasparossa. You'll see it written at the top of your slide. This does very good on the clay and silty soils and is confined to the hillsides in the southern section of Lambrusco's growing vineyard area. Look out for deep-coloured, full-bodied expressions with quite a bit of grippy tannin behind them as well. Here you'll see around Castelvetro, so number 3 here, highlighted in the province of Modena, Lambrusco Grasparossa di Castelvetro. So you'll see that it's in the southern section, and this is the band of the hills towards that southern area. So 85% minimum of this variety and some of the lowest yields in the area at still quite a high 126 hectolitres per hectare. And then we have the Lambrusco di Sobara grape variety. This makes pale, light-bodied wines with high acidity. You can see very sizable grapes in that picture. And we have a DOC called Lambrusco di Sobara DOC, which is around Modena and the location of Sobara. It has a minimum of 60% of this grape variety with 126 hectolitres per hectare, equaling Grasparossa di Castelvetro that we talked about previously. Now, they're the 3 main grapes and the 3 main DOCs. We do have others, which I will mention just briefly. So you've got 2 further DOCs named after the provinces of Reggio Emilia and Modena. So this is not after the names of the varieties. You'll see that number 2 is on the left-hand side. That's Reggiano Lambrusco or Lambrusco Reggiano, and that's near Reggio Emilia in the southern section. And then Lambrusco di Modena. Now, on this picture, it's just this small area. It's actually much more of a larger area all the way around Modena. Now, the Reggiano DOC or Reggiano Lambrusco towards the west is a maximum yield of 126 hectolitres per hectare. And then Modena DOC or Lambrusco di Modena is the highest yields, 161 hectolitres per hectare. And they do tend to have an infamous moniker of being the simplest wines of Lambrusco. So that is 4, but actually extends more out down towards Modena. And then the final one is the Colli di Scandiano e Canosso Lambrusco. So this is situated to the south of Reggio Emilia, towards Parma and towards some hills, but large yields here at 160 hectolitres per hectare. Now, if you were then to recap everything I've just gone through, really, if you want some of the most interesting and concentrated expression, they do tend to come from number 3 down here, which is the Lambrusco of Grasparossa di Castelvetro that I mentioned second in our lineup. Some really interesting expressions. Okie dokie. Well, that brings me to a conclusion of part 3, looking at those key grape varieties and the appellations behind this interesting frothy red wine of Lambrusco. If you do have any questions, please do get in touch. Comment on this video below. Maybe you've been to Parma. Maybe you've been to Reggio Emilia, Modena, Bologna. Maybe you've tried Lambrusco and you want to tell the world what you think about it. Get in touch. Please do join me for the final video looking at winemaking part 4. That part, along with parts 1 and 2, are only available to those of you who have subscribed to my e-learning portal. That's over at www.winewithjimmy.com. Well, thank you very much for your time and attention. Thank you for stopping by and see you soon. Ciao for now. Grazie mille.